We live down here in Newfoundland, where everything is all so grand. We fish and shoot while hunting game, and other climes they do the same. Ah ha ha, ain't it grand? We live down here in Newfoundland. This land is made for the caribou, all sorts of birds abound. Here too is summer home of the wild goose, while every wood is full of moose. Our rivers teeming hereabout with salmon and with speckled trout. Invite the traveler by the way to stop and spend a holiday. Ah ha ha, ain't it grand to live down here in Newfoundland.
After the unexpected overnight delay in Montreal, we were back in the air on the way to St. John's, Newfoundland. Still riding high from that European robin. But I've never hired a guide before. I think guiding is awesome. I used to be a guide for many years, but I hired Jared Clarke. He is really the only active guide in Newfoundland and awesome guy. He runs birdtherock.com. You gotta go there. If you're even thinking about any trip there, definitely check out his website. It's got so many resources. And yeah, hire him. That's where I am, Newfoundland. It looks so far north and it looks so small, but neither is true. It's at the same latitude, about 47 degrees north as Seattle and Quebec City and where I'm from, Duluth, Minnesota area, Sax-Zim Bog. It's size-wise, it's a lot bigger than you think. Size of Greece or Iceland or North Korea. No offense, Newfoundland. Same size roughly as Pennsylvania or Ohio. 3 times the size of Switzerland. It's half the size of Minnesota. But yeah, just excited to get this adventure started. Well, here I am in St. John's, Newfoundland, and it is windy and cold. Just 18 hours later than I was supposed to be. But I got a pretty cool Volkswagen Taos. And here we go. Find how to turn it on. Here we go. Day 1, birding the rock. Jared picked me up at my hotel in, guess what? A Kia minivan, just like Owen and Quentin used in the listers and their big year. And I noticed this sign in his back window, and I'm like, all right, that's okay, Jared. Novice driver, no problem. Nothing to be embarrassed about. Actually, he's teaching his daughter to drive, so. The first thing you're going to notice about St. John's is that it has all these multicolored houses and buildings. It's really cool. We headed out to Cape Spear, which is the furthest east point in North America. So if you're standing right here on this point, you're going to see the sunrise before anybody else in North America. Yep, that's right. Well, it was cloudy, so we didn't see the sunrise. But we did find some pretty cool birds here. We're here at Cape Spear, and now we're on the hunt for these purple sandpipers, which I've seen in Norway, but would be not very well in Norway, ABA lifer. So I better follow Jared. You can see here in red where the purple sandpiper breeds: Scandinavia, Svalbard, Greenland, Baffin Island. And then blue is where it winters. Farther northeast in the U.S. you get, the better chance you have of finding one. And then, of course, Newfoundland, you can see there in the southern part. St. John's is in the southeast. We've had them on Lake Superior. Duluth's got a couple records even, not for a long time, but I've never run across one in North America until today. Oh, I just had a flock of about a dozen purple sandpipers fly by, and they flew back the other way, but they have not landed where we can see them yet. I want a nice shot showing the purple gray, maybe some splashing water over the top of them, but not obscuring the eye, something like that.
So where we are now, this was at one time, during the Second World War, a Canadian military base. And you can see the anti-submarine guns in the barracks here. But the guns never actually saw any action. But I was reading a while ago that some of the transcripts of the communications back and forth between this station and the headquarters, that in the spring of, I think it was 1943, an iceberg grounded just off the coast here. And I guess the soldiers were so bored here, they actually looked for permission to fire on the iceberg. But of course, they didn't get that.
Oh, that would have could have made a lot of ice cubes.
Would have been the only action that the gun saw.
But that is part of tourism in Newfoundland, is
Iceberg
yeah, watching.
It is, absolutely.
And what time of year is that?
Spring, yeah, May, June.
Oh man, was that a beautiful sight. And you know, how many were there? Well, I did my old trick of printing out a still frame from the video and then circling the birds by tens. And I came up with 201 purple sandpipers. Crazy. Purple sandpipers. Like Jared said, they're pretty mellow. You get fairly close. And so I've been trying to shoot some silhouettes with the waves with that beautiful blue water. And also some flash. Yeah, stunning. In winter in Newfoundland, obviously they feed mostly in the splash zone on these rocky shores. And the literature says they're feeding on tiny gastropods and even some crustaceans. So, like the common periwinkle is kind of their favorite. You might say, Sparky, why in the world would you go to Newfoundland in the winter? Because the vast majority of people come here in the summer to enjoy the massive Atlantic puffin colonies, the world-famous gannet colonies. So, yeah, winter isn't the first thing you think of when you think of Newfoundland for birding. Yeah, well, as you're seeing here, there's some seabirds that winter right near the coast that are harder to see in the summer. And they get these European vagrants, these rare gulls and ducks, and sometimes songbirds from Europe. And hey, I like the north, and I just wanted to experiences. I thought it'd be a cool place to go. Plus, I had a lot of Air Canada miles. Funny story about the black guillemot. It was on my list for about a year. There was one in Minnesota on Lake Superior that a group found in late October. I rushed up there, couldn't get there that day, got up there the next day, and we're all looking at it and floating there in the marina and high-fiving, and oh, it's awesome, and oh yeah, it must be sleeping everybody. I think I saw its eye open, and maybe I saw it move or twitch. Well, then somebody went down and picked it up. It had died overnight and was just floating there. So it took about a year before I finally came to grips with it and took it off my list. So this was an awesome make good lifer. So cool. Check out this crazy range map for this species. The purple is where it lives year-round. New Zealand, Africa, India, Western Europe, Scandinavia, Greenland. And then the red is summer, and it winters all over the coastal Newfoundland and New England. I wasn't that excited about it, but it is big, and it's identifiable pretty easily, so yeah. I like it. I'd love to see the breeding plumage, which is cool. Is that a walkway? Next stop was, to a preschool. Where else does Sparky belong? But yeah, these kids knew we were looking for the pink-footed goose. I wonder if it has a name, but it has been here in St. John's since 2019, and quite a celebrity, a European species, and definitely a lifer. Maybe surprisingly, this was one of the biggest rarities of the trip, though when you see it at a preschool pond on a university campus, takes a little bit away from it, but you can see it only breeds Greenland, Iceland, Svalbard, and then winters mainly in England, Denmark, Netherlands. So to show up in North America is pretty amazing. Maybe you remember that scene in the Big Year movie when they find one high in the mountains on a little pond. Birders really panned that scene in the movie. But then lo and behold, one did show up in 2018 in Colorado. So just goes to show, is that any more ridiculous than on a pond near a university preschool? Keep those preschoolers safe now, buddy. Yep, got to earn your keep. Next, we were off to Kelly's Brook Trail, where I have never seen tame green-winged teal. Usually you even look in their direction halfway, they'll fly off in a panic. But evidently they're getting fed here. Very tame. These are the North American green-winged teal. Notice the white crescent up towards the front of the body. But then look at this one and notice that there's no white crescent at the front of the body. There's this kind of horizontal white band, and the green around the face has a lot more outlining and pale feathers. Yep, this is the European green-winged teal or common teal. Not yet split. So I can't quite count it. Back pocket lifer, but wow, what a stunning bird. So much more to come from Newfoundland. I'm going to have to make 3 episodes out of this. You bet. Stay tuned.
We live down here in Newfoundland where everything is oh so grand. We fish and shoot while hunting game, and other climes they do the same. Ha ha ha.